Aishwarya Srinivasan, it is such an honor to have you on. It's not that complicated.
I'm really glad to have you here, and you have an amazing background.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So, if I got this right, Aishwarya, you are currently working at IBM. You are an AI and ML innovation leader there. You have founded your company Illuminate AI. You also are you were selected as LinkedIn's top voice in the year 2020 in the field of data science and AI. And most importantly, I think you have such a rich and massive network of followers. And as we are speaking right now, you have approximately 150,000 followers. And in future date, that might just double. So I think the question, and did I get that right? All this information.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am working in IBM right now, and my role at IBM is basically trying to drive the business. Understanding what's the next big thing that's going to come in AI and ML, what would be those use cases which will be really helpful for our clients, and how can we leverage AI and ML technology in building better IBM features or like better IBM products. Yeah. So that's where I'm driving as a innovation leader in IBM. The second thing, I am a co-founder of Illuminate AI, where I am trying to build this community. It's not a company, it's a community where people are trying to connect with each other, find mentorship from each other. It has regular mentor-mentee matches where people can sign up to either be a mentor or mentee, and they can get matched with the appropriate people. It also has peer mentorship groups where people can join the community and learn from each other. So it's more of a voluntary thing and not really any like profitable business sort of a company. Sure. So it's more of a community. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. That's some excellent work that you have been doing there too. And I think one thing which Aishwarya, I don't think maybe you realize this, but you are truly an inspiration to a lot of people out there in the tech industry. I have been following personally your work for about a year now, or more than a year, and just the passion and energy that you have shown in cultivating the space of AI, data science, technology, and I think just coming out of that mundane and just helping people out. And I think that is what we would like to learn from you today. And one important topic, that is, how can one go about building their own personal brand? Yeah, because in this busy world, I think it is very easy to get lost and have not a concrete direction. And we want to make sure that we put good light on ourselves, but in the right way, not the clickbaity way, right? And that is why we want to talk to you and learn everything in that space.
So one of the things, Nehal, I realize is that people generally go behind the buzzwords or go behind what they feel is trending in the community. Mm-hmm. And they feel, oh, like this person in this profession is really achieving a lot or like is succeeding. Let me change or like switch my profession to this. So it's not really about profession. It's not really about career which you're choosing. It's about what skills do you have? What are the unique skills and personality traits that you have which will help you succeed in that career? So you might, like, just because a career might be well paying per se does not really give you the motivation to just pursue that career. Like, does your skill set, does your personality, does your interest align with that career is most important. And that's when you'll be standing out. Otherwise you'll end up being the person who's just hating their job. And this is something we hear a lot, right? Like, people are always complaining that, hey, I hate my job, I really am looking forward to the weekend, I'm I'm stressed out, I'm just like exhausted. That would not happen if you're really pursuing a career which you really enjoy. Yep. Because for me, data science was something which I figured out was my area of interest back when I was in my undergrad. Mm-hmm. And that too happened because I was exploring a lot. I was not restricting myself to only particular fields. I was doing my undergraduate studies in computer science, and I came across various different fields like quantum computing, cloud computing, data science, machine learning, and a lot more. And when I started like digging deeper into each of these different fields, I realized somewhere I inclined very much towards data science and machine learning, and that's why I chose to have that as my career. Because right now I do not feel exhausted even reading about machine learning algorithms sitting on a weekend. I really enjoy that. So that's something I figured out is my USP, or is my unique skill set, or it defines my personality trait somewhere. So when you were talking about like having your personal brand, I would really say that focus on your strengths, focus on what distinguishes you from everyone else who's remotely working in the same field as you, and figure out like what is that one thing which make you stand out, and that is what is going to help you build your personal brand and make you stand out.
Lovely, lovely. So if I understand it right, and just to summarize that stuff that you said, that uh, focus on building that skill set, focus on building the thing that identifies you, something that makes you stand apart. Don't go behind the buzzwords that, oh, just because the entire world is going into machine learning and AI, you should also go in that. That does not hold true. Identify, and I think somewhere the subtle hidden answer in your thing was that be true to yourself, be genuine, because I think that is what is going to make that impact, right? Excellent. So just some context for our viewers. Why don't you quickly just share us your story, like where you began and how have you reached where you are today?
I know you are working in LinkedIn, and this is probably comes out a lot that I'm like endorsing LinkedIn a lot, but I would highly attribute LinkedIn to what I am today, because it is what let me connect to a lot of people. And I started using LinkedIn back in 2013 when I just joined my undergrad. And I used to not like the lag between what's the research that's going on versus the journals and books that used to come to my library. So whenever I used to end up in my library, I used to see all these say a decade old research which was published in the book, and I was like and whenever I used to go on the internet, there'll be like so many new things which used to come out, and I was like why are the libraries not catching up, or like why is my university not able to give me the latest research which is going on. So that's when I started. Sorry,
This was back in India or in US?
this was back in India.
This was back in India. Okay.
So then I started like using LinkedIn, and I realized everyone was like talking about what they have been working on. And so I realized that connecting with people on LinkedIn was really helpful for me. So when I was able to have that like ease of connecting with people, I would just email them, I would just ping them on LinkedIn, be like, hey, I read this research papers of yours and I'm totally lost in these sections, I have no idea what you're talking about, so do you mind like coming on a 30-minute call with me and like helping me out with this. And people, I was very fortunate that people did reply to me, and I did get that connection with a lot of international professors, a lot of international like researchers and students who were here. And that's somewhere I came across what's happening in United States. We know like the latest research in AI is going on in the US, right? So India was probably a couple of years behind what US was in their research. And when I was back in my undergrad, it gave me a lot of exposure on what's happening here. And that's when I started to talk to my professors back in India about like cloud computing and machine learning, and they would be like, oh, like where did you hear about these things? So it was pretty new to them as well. And like that's how it started sprawling my curiosity in what's going on in the space. And when I started like getting these little internships, so since I was in my like first year in undergrad, I used to be a little nerdy person, so I used to just gate crash like any what do you call it, like the networking sessions for recruitment. And I would just ask these recruiters that, hey, do you have any internships, I was shamelessly asking for internships from people. And fortunately there were like a few of them who felt like I could do a good job, and they did offer me an internship. And that's how it like it just fired my curiosity. And that's when I wanted to like learn more about it, and I planned for my masters here in the US. And like and like whatever has happened after that.
The rest is history. No, I think this so much rich information that you have given, and there are a few things which I just want to pick out from the hay. Right, that first is, and again, you're right. Even though I am at LinkedIn, there is no way we are trying to endorse, but it is mainly to leverage the platform in your favor. Right, there are so many things, and not because I'm working at LinkedIn, but I still feel there are so many people that don't know the true power of LinkedIn, and I think people should change that mindset, right? And another thing is that at times you got to do what you got to do. You have to hustle. You have to get yourself out there. As you told, you went out shamelessly to get those internships and just get out of that mundane. And I think the biggest understanding was that the word curiosity. I think what kept you going was your curiosity, because you had questions, because you were truly interested in that, not on surface level, but you actually wanted to know more about it. That is what kept you going, right? And I think that's a great thank you for that whole context and story behind that. I am going to jump a little in the deep end here, and it might sound a little bit philosophical, but I think it is interesting to get your perspective on it. Do you personally believe in having a purpose in life? And if yes, like,
Yes, absolutely, yes.
okay, so what is your purpose?
What I believe in my purpose of life is like I just want to keep working till I die. Like I really enjoy working, and I don't want to give up on that. Like a lot of my friends even call me like super nerdy, or they'll be like, "You're just a workaholic." I'm like what is the real purpose of life? I just want to be happy, and I am doing what makes me happy. I am not like forcing myself into doing something, and I don't want to ever retire. Probably I never want to retire. I want to work all my life because that keeps me happy. So I was actually reading this book about like how people, like all the super centenarians, they are having this happy healthy life, and they are like living so long. And one of the things which I read there was that they are keeping their body and mind active, and this is what keeps my mind active. So working is what keeps my mind active, and as in when I'm learning new things, when I'm like pushing my brain to think a little more, solve new problems, solve new challenges, actually put a little pressure on it, that's when it's growing. If I am going to sit and do the same regular mundane things, and my brain is going to run on autopilot, like then it's not going to grow. So I want to keep pushing my brain so that it keeps growing and it keeps active.
100%. I cannot agree more on that. I have this concept of not retiring too. I think I'm going to work till my last breath, and that is something that I enjoy. And I think you are right, because there are these stereotypical definitions of happiness. Like I've been reading this book Ikigai, right? Like finding the purpose of life, and there are the definitions of happiness. But I think one important thing that people miss out is that different things make different people happy. And if there is something that you're passionate for and it makes you happy, like for me, making these videos and having these conversations make me happy, and I would probably want to do it till as long as I can, right? So lovely. I think it is more about following your passions and following your heart, right?
Ikigai is sitting right there. That's like one of my go-to books. It's one of my favorite books. I probably read it like thrice. I like every time I read it, there's some new energy that I get from it.
Totally. There's Ikigai. There are two books that are like my mantras, right? One is Ikigai, and another is Fistful of Love. I think these two books are like my go-to whenever I want to do that. I might probably know the answer, but did you, and just to get it from you, did you have a goal to grow your LinkedIn network to where it is today? Did you have that goal in mind, and okay, you are charging towards it, or did it just happen organically? What was the thing there?
LinkedIn was always my qualitative platform. Like I as you mentioned, like LinkedIn, people have this misconception that LinkedIn is their go-to place when they want to find a job. Absolutely not. Like LinkedIn is not a recruitment platform. That's not the only purpose of LinkedIn. I feel like building the connections which are long term on LinkedIn is more important. Like people tell me that you're using like LinkedIn as you use your Facebook. You're just like always on LinkedIn. I'm like, this helps me build a network for my career, and I get to learn a lot from people. And some of the best friends that I have today are from LinkedIn. Like, you wouldn't believe, like, some of the friends I have carried on since like 4 or 5 years are from LinkedIn. And they are also my go-to mentors if I have to talk to them about my financial planning. They are my go-to mentors if I have to talk to them about like real estates that I have, like, that I'm planning for, or anything for that matter, like be it career, like personal, or anything for that matter. I have these people whom I can go to, and I do believe like they can also come to me for any of their any help that they need. So LinkedIn has been like a give and take platform for me, and it's more about the quality that I find there rather than the quantity. So I do not care about the numbers which are being presented on LinkedIn. It is about like having a more healthy community, having this ecosystem where people are able to raise their voices about like anything that they want to learn, or about anything that they want to change. So that's why I really respect, and like I really endorse LinkedIn as a platform, because it gives that opportunity for everyone to do that. And to be honest, like when I started on LinkedIn, and I think like I even like mentioned this to you earlier, that I didn't even like look at those numbers until last year. Like it was last year when like the editor from LinkedIn had reached out to me, talking to me about the LinkedIn Top Voice. That's when I even like had a look at the quantitative aspect of LinkedIn. Till then I was only focusing on building those networks and building those connections. So yeah, I mean, like that's what LinkedIn is for me.
Nice, nice. And so, yes, I think thank you for asserting that yet again, that don't focus on the numbers. Focus on the quality aspect of it. Focus on what exactly you truly want to achieve, right? And I think my follow up question is very nicely related to that. And that is, so we talked about your life purpose, right? And here's, I have talked to a lot of people during interviews, and like just outside when I'm doing my research, right? Here is one issue, that finding a life purpose, it's not easy for a lot of people. As much as like I feel I'm lucky enough that I know what I want and where I want to go, right? That I have gotten that nirvana moment. But if I have to ask you, how can one, like say someone who's doing a 9 to 5 job, enjoying weekends, and then again on Monday they're going back to their 9 to 5 jobs, how can one truly find their life purpose? Like what can one do?
So one thing that I would recommend is like lose the fear of it's too late. It's never too late, or it's never too early for that matter. So it's like very few people know about this, but my mom was working as a research assistant, and she was like working in B school back in her days. And I used to often go to her office because that was the only place I had access to computers. And when I used to visit her office, I was also like this very extroverted child. Like, so I used to like go around her office, even though she tried to calm me down and make me sit in one place. That would never happen. I would just go around, talk to all possible professors in her office, and see what they are doing. Like, hardly I would even understand anything, but I used to like having that interaction where there'll be like an overwhelming amount of knowledge falling on me. And I'm still like, trying to pick few things which I can remotely understand. And my mom, so what she did was, when I was eventually like going to her office, she started making me look at the things that she was working on. And she was probably one of the earliest users of IBM SPSS. So that's a funny story how I like landed in IBM. So yeah, she was the early, like in 90s, she started using IBM's SPSS, and that's how she introduced me to, like data modeling. And back then it was like Arima for time series. She used to do ANOVA modeling. So all those were the things that she used to work on. And that's how I started learning about these things. And somewhere I found that, okay, I was interested in programming, or I was interested in this computational mindset. So it is just about finding the kind of mindset you're interested in, right? just keep exploring till you find that one thing that you really love. So as we were talking about ikigai, one of the concepts in ikigai is to actually find that overlap between what your skill sets are, what your interest is, what could help you build a career, like, or what could be a possible career path, and what is that thing which will keep you happy, right? So having this overlap of these things is when you find your ikigai. So it is just the matter of exploring. Like I have explored so many things. Like for any external person, they might only see the data science path that I've taken all through my career, but I have explored so many different things. Like I have explored dancing, I have explored like fashion shows in my life, I have explored drama, I have explored like cloud computing, like if it was talking about engineering. So I did explore a lot of different things, and I decided not to pursue them. So it was only after exploring these multiple options that I understood that, okay, this is a good path for me. So it is just a matter of exploring for yourself and then deciding, and not letting the external factors make that decision for you.
Nice, nice. I think again, I love the fact that keep asking questions till you don't figure it out. Keep going, keep trying, and like keep experimenting. And it's okay to fail, but in this whole experimentation process, in this finding those answers, you will somewhere find that aspect that you truly love. But for that, you will have to get up from your seat and do something. Right? So that is there. Lovely. So I wanted to touch back on the networking aspect, right? I think if I have to ask you, what is like, let's say we everyone say that, oh, you should network a lot and you should build a community and stuff like that. So I think to make it more actionable for our viewers, right, I think one thing, if I have to ask you, what are some strategies that worked out really well for you personally when it came to networking? Like, do you have any tips that worked out really well, or something that one should keep handy when they're networking?
So one of the things which I realized, it's always a give and take. Like if you are going to expect, like if you're going out to network just for your personal benefits, that would not be the ideal way of networking. Second thing is being consistent and thinking of it as a long term prospect. It's not something which you're going to realize in a short term. It's not just a matter of like a day or two that you're going to realize this. Yes, I have got a lot of my career opportunities through my network, but it has not happened that like I email someone or I message someone on LinkedIn, be like, hey, give me a job, and they give me a job. That's not how it worked. A lot of the network that I built was where I was sharing my knowledge with these people. I would ask them questions. I would talk to them. I would have a communication which is a two-way communication, and not just ask for help. So over time, they had observed my personal life, they had observed my professional life, they had observed how I have an attitude towards work, and that's what made them that's what gave them the understanding that they want to help me pursue my career in a particular direction. So I feel like it's a slow process. Like when you're building your network on LinkedIn or like any other platform for that matter, it is important for you to be consistent. It is a slow process. It is it's like building relationships, right? Building that trust doesn't come overnight. It takes its own course of time. So it is very similar on building these professional connections as well. Like it is making new friends in a professional setup. So that's how I look at it.
Excellent, well said. So I think if I understand this right, again, it is a two-way street. It is more about give and take. It is not just about promoting your own self, but how can you also be a help to someone else? And again, I think as those questions, be genuine in your network. And I think one, you hit the nail right in the head. There is. It is not going to happen overnight. Trust is not built overnight, right? You have to invest time, energy. People look at your work, people admire you over time, and you have to be consistent. So one important aspect, like I think two important aspects of networking. One is be consistent, and second is understand that it's a give and take. It's a two-way street. As much as you are getting, make sure that at least, if not more, give the equal amount back to the community also.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. So now, Aishwarya, there's one concept that I truly believe in, and that is, so whenever we plant a seed, right, to do something, there are always these active benefits and passive benefits, right? Now, active benefits is like, okay, you are doing something, then you are getting what you expected. That, oh, you say you are applying for studies abroad, you got admission studies abroad, and you are going to get a degree abroad, right? So that is one of the active benefits. In a similar way, your journey has been extremely inspiring, and your journey, like, has been pretty adventurous. So what I wanted to know from you was, what are some passive benefits that you have accumulated that you did not even foresee, that, oh, just because you have planted that seed, you got this nice gift?
Yeah, so I have a good example to share here.
Okay.
So when I was in India and I was planning for my masters, and I really thank my mom for not letting me do a PhD back then, because I was confused. I was not sure if I should go pursue my PhD just after my undergrad or if I should go for a masters. A very common question that people have. And back then, I just, like, my mom helped me evaluate the situation, and she wanted me to go for a master's rather than a PhD. So I did pursue my master's, and even while I was in my master's, in my headspace, I used to think that I am more of a research person. Okay. And because I did really love doing, like, working on research and, spending hours and hours on that. So I did have that plan in my head that I would, possibly get into that zone, and, like, probably after a couple of years of working, I would get into PhD. But that clearly did not happen. And as I mentioned, like, when I was interacting with people, when I was trying to learn from people, somewhere people made me realize my strengths. And that was somewhere sitting in being a leader, or, like, helping people drive do something. Okay. And that is something which people helped me realize, and it was not something which I realized myself. People around me, like the leadership in IBM, the leadership outside, whom I'm connected with, they helped me realize that, hey, Ishwarya, like, you have a voice which people really want to listen, and you have that command where people want to create your ideas and want to help create your ideas. So that's when I realized that, okay, yeah, this is possibly something which I'm really good at, and I did not know all the way through. Right. And that's when I did transition from being a data scientist, and one of the leaderships in IBM found me, and he reached out to me and said that you are a great fit for this opportunity. And that's how I transitioned in being the innovation leader. Beautiful. So that's how it happened for me. So that's a passive benefit, right? Like, I would have never thought that what could be a possible career path for me, and this could also change in future. Like, it's not something which is a very deterministic okay. It's not a very deterministic parameter. It might change in the future. Like, probably 5 years down the line, I realize something else is better for me, or I just jump back into doing my PhD. You never know. So it's just, I think it's just focusing on right now, and just moving ahead with that.
Excellent. And one in my early days at LinkedIn, right, I had a mentor, and there's a wonderful learning that he had given me, that you don't be a leader of people, people choose you as a leader. And that is, if you think about it, it is really true, and totally applicable in your case also, that you did not know that, oh, there is this assertiveness, there is this leadership quality that can help people amplify their voices. Leadership is never about us. It's always about the people, right? It is always about uplifting others and making sure that as a team, everyone grows. And I think that is a lovely example of getting it amplified and uplifted. So now the next question that I have is, it's more, I would say, like, more of I wanted to understand the dark side of these things also, right? So of course we see the shiny bright side, amazing LinkedIn platform, but there's a lot of effort that goes in making a personal brand, right? There's a lot of personal dedication and discipline, I think, that is needed in order to cultivate it. So I wanted to understand from you, have you personally ever felt that pressure of just you have to do it, and if you don't do it, then you might lose a train? Or like, has this whole journey in any way impacted you in any negative form? Or negative is a too strong word, but in a subtle, I would say, sad way. Like, has that ever happened?
Yes, I would say initially when I started like creating content, there would be a lot of negative comments which would come in,
Okay.
and I would put it in a way that yes, if there are like 80% people like appreciating your work, there are going to be that 20% of people who would have like negative comments on what you're doing. So and back then, like I used to be like, oh, you know what, I should probably not write something like this, I should probably not do something like this, probably I should not share like content which is probably motivational and not related to career aspect. And then I realized that like I'm doing this for myself and not to please anyone else.
Yeah.
And if me like putting anything motivational or like anything that makes people build a better work life balance can help them, I am catering to those 80% of people who are benefiting from it and not catering to the 20% of the others. The 20% of the others can choose to unfollow me, can choose to ignore my content, but I am catering to the 80% of the people who are benefiting from it. So I did have that pressure where like in my head I was like, oh, I have to please everyone, and that's something I realized is never going to happen. Like you cannot please 100% of the people, and you don't have to fit in someone else's template. So this is a great example like I probably want to talk about. And like personally, like Elon Musk is a huge inspiration for me. Okay. And I really love how he is like genuine to himself. He is just his own person. Like and even in a lot of his interviews, he keeps saying that I don't want to fit in this traditional template or this like cookie cutter shape on how people imagine CEOs to be. And he is just following his own ways or his own traits of being a leader, right? And that's what I also feel, that you should not be succumbing to some sort of a template, or what people expect you to be. You just have to be yourself, and that's the best way to go, because that is the only thing which is going to keep you happy. If you're trying to like satisfy everyone else and trying to modify yourself, it's not going to give you that happiness. So I just like had that pressure initially, but then I just like got rid of it, and I feel ignorance is bliss. Sometimes it's just like ignoring certain things just will keep you happy.
No, very well said, Aishwarya. I think there's such a great message that don't try to fit in other people's templates. It is not going to work out, and you will just end up tearing yourself apart in order to fit in their own things. And it's okay to keep pursuing what you are doing and cater it to your for your own self. I think first is just be genuine and do it for your own self. And if there is audience who is genuinely interested, then we go towards that. And as far as haters are concerned, there will always be haters, and the best is you can ignore them or they can ignore you, and you keep moving forward. Lovely. So Aishwarya, now one thing which is extremely fascinating is how you're working at IBM. You're also like working on the Innovate AI project and building that community. You are building a community on LinkedIn, and just so many passion projects that you keep doing along with a full-time job, right? So I think a question that many of us might have is, how do you balance like passion projects, it's something that we truly love, with our already existing full-time jobs? Because I think full-time jobs itself takes out energy from you. So how do you keep that balance, and do you have any tips that works out well for you?
In my head, I have 16 hours every day to be active, to be alive,
Okay.
and work. Out of which I keep like 1 hour for working out. That's something, I think that's one of the major things which actually keeps me energetic, because I make sure that every day at least for an hour I'm working out. Because if I'm training, like it's like sleep, right? Everyone recommends you to sleep. They say that your mind needs rest. if being awake for 16 hours needs 8 hours of sleep for your mind to rest, you need to give some activity to your body as well. So I think like that really rejuvenates my body, because when I'm working out each and every day, I feel more energetic. I do not feel lazy at all. And I think like as in when I feel more focused also, like there are times when I'm like working on something which is IBM related, and like after 2 hours I just get zoned out, and I'm like, okay, let me just stop doing this right now, and for another hour I keep working on something else, and then I get back to it. So it's just like figuring out how you want to balance your time, and it's mostly about time management. Like looking at Elon Musk, I think he does like 40 times more things than what I do, and he still has the same amount of hours that I have, right? So I should probably be like working on how to manage my time better. And yeah, like my life goal is probably to manage time how he does. So it's just a relative term how you consider like how people are managing their time. But exercise and like working out is one of the best ways of keeping your energy levels up. Otherwise, I feel like whenever you're working, like waking up in the morning, you feel really lazy. Like I have seen people waking up in the morning and still feeling sleepy, like not having that motivation to work. For me, once I finish my work, once I end my day around 5, I work out for an hour. And at 6, I'm again like pumped up with more energy to like work till the night. Not something which I would recommend. Like you should not also be like working all day. Probably do find time for your family, do find time to do other things. But yeah, like that's how it works for me.
I like, I don't think anyone has ever put this in this way for me. And it is pretty interesting that you have 8 hours of sleep, but make sure you do some work in that 16 hours to qualify for that 8 hours of sleep. I mean, yeah, like make that sleep count by doing some mental and physical work.
Exactly.
I don't think anyone has ever put it that way. Cool, awesome. So Aishwarya, coming to the last segment of this show, as you know, it's called It's Not That Complicated, and the whole idea is that we take such self-help and personal development topics and make it simple for people to understand, and I think just get inspired, right? So if I have to ask you and to summarize, what are some 3 CTAs, some 3 call to actions that you recommend for our viewers that they can start doing today, like right now they can start doing in order to build their own personal brand and cultivate their own personal brand? What would you say?
So one of the things I would say is like take a pause and think about like what you're doing. Is this something which you really like? Is this something, if I tell you that you have to do it for the next 60 years, would you willingly do that? So think about that. The second thing is connect with a lot of people, because like you learn a lot from people, even if they are from your profession, not from your profession. You learn a lot from just human beings, and that's where I am like a huge social person, because each and every time I meet a new person, I get to learn something or the other. Maybe it could be even a hairstyle, like a nice hairstyle that I like learn from a new person. So it's just like things about learning. So you can start with like reaching out to people within your organization. If you're looking to build your community and like build your career, reach out to people in your organization. Reach out to your VP, reach out to your general manager, and remove the mental block that they might not respond to you, because everyone is a human, and like we should not like raise someone up too much in our head thinking that they might not respond to us, and we should remove the mental blocks from our end. Reach out to people who you really admire and talk to them about like how they reached where they are, and how you can learn from their journey, how you can learn from their advice and suggestions. And the third thing that I would start doing is be more cautious, like be more careful about what things that you're working on, and just don't do things just for the sake of it. Like each and everything that you do every single day, make sure that that has some value add to your life, and just don't do things just for the sake of it. So those are probably the 3 takeaways that I can have.
Lovely. Those were some wonderful call to actions that everyone can start doing today. Aishwarya, I had a blast talking to you today, and just thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. And See, I did learn a bunch of things from you about how to make amazing YouTube videos, and the way you speak is really amazing. The way you take pauses, the way the tempo or like the speed of you keeping the conversation, that's really amazing. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you. I'm touched.